Hello and welcome to Leading the Way, the official podcast of Edison Township Public Schools. This is where progress, purpose, and passion come to life as we spotlight the voices and insights, as well as the initiatives that are shaping the future of education for our students. From the classrooms to the boardrooms and to the moments in between, just join me on this journey for sharing the voices of those who inspire, innovate, and elevate our schools and our community. My name is Dr. Edward Aldarelli, proud superintendent of the Edison Township Public Schools. Thanks for joining us, and let's dive in. Welcome, my name is Eddie Aldarelli, host of our brand new podcast here, Leading the Way for Edison Township Public Schools. I'm excited to have some esteemed guests with us today that actually volunteer their time each and every single day to make sure that the students, staff, and community get the very best education here in Edison Township. So before I begin, I would love to introduce the members of this esteemed panel. We have a Board of Education member and former Board of Education President, Ms. Shannon Peng. We have our current Vice President of the Board of Education, Mr. Vishal Patel, and Board of Education member, and a topic that's near and dear to your heart as well, too, Miss Virginia White. Today's focus is going to be on community, right? And, you know, the title of this podcast is Community Connections, how we build relationships that matter. And then when we talk about the art of building relationships and the practice of building relationships, it's really the key component to success at all levels, right? Success in the classroom, success with our community, success with our teachers. I think it's probably the hallmark of how we operate here in Edison Township, just like one big family. So we're gonna maybe ask a couple different questions about your relationship into the aspect of community engagement. So I think maybe we'll start with Ms. Peng. Sure. To start off, you know, what does community engagement mean to you as a board member here in Edison Township? If you were to kind of summarize what community engagement means from your role.
Communication is the key to the success of our school district. In my view, we have a very diverse community. We have different groups. We have students, educators, we have parents, taxpayers, and it's our board members' responsibility to connect all these components to make sure nothing is disconnected. And if there is anything that's disconnected, then that means we're not doing a good job. We really need to know what our constituents think, what they need, what they want, in order to best serve them.
Yeah, you look for that type of synergy between those three aspects, right? And,
yes.
And they're all stakeholders within the community. Ms. White, you know, we've had a great relationship. You've had community liaison committee. Anything to kind of add to that aspect?
This for me is like, such an important topic. Community relations, is just so important. I believe that, and this board is very good as far as listening. They have open ears, they listen, they want to know, where we can improve and where we need to change. And that's not only just with the public, this is with our town, our government. We've through the liaison committee, we established really good connections with the government. With our our mayor, our township, our police department is so incredible, and the fire department. Andy Toth is amazing, and our emergency management. They have come through for us in so many ways that you just can't count on it. And you probably are going to have to stop me because I could go on endlessly about this.
That's okay.
I'm very proud of the town. I truly am, in all of their efforts. And I'm so proud of the board and mainly of our administration. We are blessed with Eddie, and we truly are, with Dr. Aldarelli,
That's okay. That's okay.
And all of his team. I mean, we are so lucky to have all of you.
Yeah. Well, listen, we without the support of the Board of Education, right, we can't move forward. And I think Mr. Patel will agree in relationship to that. It's one of the pillars that we focused on with regards to the strategic plan. If you were to kind of summarize community engagement, what it means to you as a board member?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of them, right? It's key to our success. Like to me, community engagement means listening with intent and acting with purpose, right? It's all about building trust with community, with open communication, and making sure that every family feels heard, valued, and seen, right? Not only the ones who comes and shows up in the meeting, right? And to me, community engagement is about building partnerships, right? And making sure that our school represents our community's needs and their values and their hopes. And if you achieve that, that's a success for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so that kind of segues into, my next thought in how do you quantify these pieces, right? It's one thing to talk about, community involvement and community engagement and making sure that they are aware of all the great things that we're doing here in Edison Township. But if you could maybe list an example, and maybe I'll start with you, Mr. Patel. Is there an example of something that you as a board member are proud of where we've engaged the community stakeholders, constituents?
Yeah, I think the two example comes to my mind. Like if you remember last year, the community was asking for more academic support, right? And we offer 24/7 varsity tutor support, right? Which gives, 24/7 academic support. Community asked for more cutting edge courses. And latest example is we are offering AP in cybersecurity this year, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
That's where rubber meets the road, right? We are not just talking, we are listening to the community and then we are putting them into action.
I agree. Ms. White, anything you can kind of pinpoint, something that you're proud of as a board member where we've actively engaged the community and have kind of seen success?
Well, I think that, Rishola's right, we've done all those wonderful things, but we've also reached out to, children that are not AP students.
Yep.
I think we've tried to advance the trades a bit and put those kids, in a really, really good spot. Our principals and our staff are just incredible, and they move things along, just so well. They're the ones who have their hands or their fingers on the pulse of our students, and they are the ones that know. Our student council reps are great.
Yeah.
I mean, the two that we had last year were outstanding. And, if you listen to those kids when they come up and they do their, little bit at our meeting, I think, the information that they provide is like so worthwhile.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
And to piggyback on what you said in relationship to our building level leadership as well as our district supervisors, our entire team, right? It's a really partnered effort in listening to the community, coming up with coursework that is challenging,
Yes.
But also representative of the needs too, right? And we know that not every student might have a four-year path.
No.
But we need to make sure that we're offering things through our CTE programs, through opportunities for internships. I mean, the board has done a wonderful job in relationship to supporting those.
You have really pushed that forward, and they are taking advantage of it. I do have to just say this: our bands and our music program are like incredible. I don't want to say one person because they're all like, the Edison High team, the J.P. Stevens team are just so great. But then when you go, like, I go to a lot of that. I go to the elementary and the middle school level, and those are all the theater programs for the high schools.
It is.
And those children are like amazing. And I wish more people could see that.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
So I go see for them, and then I tell you about it.
And then, absolutely. Ms. Peng, you've been on the board for
Veteran.
How many? Yeah. So
This is the 9th year.
Yeah. So partnerships, it might be tough to pinpoint maybe a couple, but if there's anything that you're really proud of.
Oh, yeah. Our committee has been very busy this year. It's about talking about communication. We have a few initiatives that we have to, advertise for. We have SAGES program, which is you are involved pretty much. We have basically invited any interested high school students. I think we have between 30 to 40 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming to talk directly to our superintendent, our administration team. These kids are very excited. I heard, feedback was they are very happy that they have a chance to talk directly to the big boss, and the meeting
They're brutally honest too.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what we need.
Yeah,
We
they
need
tell you
to-
things sometimes that you don't want to hear, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we need to hear from them to know what they
Absolutely.
want, what they need, right? And that's on the student side. We also, on the parent side, we have Pulse program, which basically involving all the parents interested who come to meet with us. You are involved in all of that, to meet the board member and the administration team to raise their concerns, share their feedbacks to us, and we have a very good, honest conversation with them, and they have great ideas and suggestions when we are taking input from the parents. So these are just two
Yeah.
very successful, initiative that we had this year. The parents meeting, we had two, all after working hours to make it convenient for the parents to come, and we're going to continue with that, these two initiatives. So-
Absolutely.
I think we want to give you an opportunity to give an example, because I know you have some example of listening to students and some things that you're planning for
So
future.
I'll tell you, the SAGES aspect, the Student Advisory Council for the superintendent, has really provided some impactful information and some actionable information that we as a district need to not only hear, but execute also. And a lot of those had to do, it ranged from anything from the choices for school lunch to access to co-curriculars to internet service after school. All of those things, we really prided ourselves on listening and working on it and making sure that we're providing the students with an experience. Students won't learn in an environment that they're not happy in, right?
Yeah.
Much like adults in their workspace too. So yeah, no, absolutely. So a question for thought, and I'll kind of throw it out to the group. Edison is an unbelievably diverse community. So one of the things that we have to be cognizant of is ensuring our message reaches all families, all community members, regardless of background. How do you think, from a Board of Education, a board member's perspective, how do we make everybody feel welcomed, would you say? I know our principals have a good handle on that, the opening day of school, the back to school nights, a pep rally, but how do you think as a board member we make people feel welcomed? And I'll throw it out to whoever wants to.
I think that,
Yeah.
Edison is evolving always.
Yes.
Everybody knows, my family's been here for many, many years, and it is constantly changing. And the beauty of Edison is that everybody that is here is part of the fabric of this town, which makes it to me, makes it such a good place to be. I think that, respect, you have to have respect. If you don't have respect for each other, you're lost. You have to listen, and I mean really listen, and, try and, do the right thing. You have to try and be the voice of reason. You just can't say, oh, no, this is the way it is. And, you have to be open-minded. And, but I would say the key word here is respect. You have to respect each other and move forward in a very positive way. I don't like negativity, you know that.
No, and I'll tell you, you touched upon that, and I think Mr. Patel and Ms. Peng will kind of highlight what you focused on when you talked about respect and listening. Those are the Board of Education is a leadership body.
Yeah.
You talked about the tenets of really good leadership, right? Setting a clear vision for the future, listening, acting with respect, and providing rationale for decisions, right? Where you talked about, hey, we're not just saying this, we're just
Yeah.
not saying no. We have a rationale behind those pieces. I don't know if you want to add anything.
I think, Ms. White presented, perfectly. I could not have done better job, right? Respect,
Thank you.
listening are the key talents, right? We all have our biases, right?
Yes.
Depends on where we grew up, what experiences we had. And then when we are listening, we have to be open to understand where they are coming from, understand their feeling, understand their pain point. And I think communication goes both ways, I think, and we are improving that, right? We need to do a better job in communication coming to us,
Yes.
as well as us communicating to them. And I think the programs such as surveys and Parent Square will allow us to do that, right? And I know we are starting.
I was wondering when we were going to give a plug for both of those pieces. Absolutely, yeah. Get if you want to elaborate on it.
Because
Yeah.
surveys allows people to give their feedback, right? Because not everybody is bold enough to come to the board meeting, or neither they have time to come to the board meeting and speak up, right? Surveys allow them to be honest, give the feedback directly to the decision makers, and be discreet about it at the same time. And the Parent Square and some of the work that Ms. Peng's community is doing in reaching out to community, like newsletters, videos, spotlights, that allows us to communicate to them, like this podcast series. Amazing idea, right? It's for us to communicate to our residents what we are doing, so that they are aware of it and they can give us their feedback as we are doing it.
I agree. And this forum right here is just another example of how the community. I mean, this was not just an idea of myself and Ms. Daniel and our team. This came out of our strategic plan. How do you get the message out? How do you engage constituents in multiple platforms? And so I think this is a great idea. Ms. Peng, you have anything to add to those pieces?
Sure. The newsletter is, great things, right? We have monthly newsletter. I just want to stress that. With Miss Heather Danielle helped me, making those possible monthly newsletter. Which is sent to every parents in the district, so they know what's going on in our schools. And besides that, I think one more thing that I learned during the past 9 years is, reach out. I think besides respect, and I think we board members should reach out. I mean, every year I knock on doors, either for my own campaign or for some friends' campaign. I've been to places that without being a board member, I would never probably know of. And this is Edison. Edison is huge and so diverse. And I've talked to so many different people and really opened my eyes. I have to be honest. I mean, this is how I learned the community better, and I learn what they need, what they want, so we can better serve them. I think one way we can do is really to reach out. If any residents see a board member standing at their door, they would open up and tell you, what they think about our schools.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
yeah.
And that is valuable information that we need to turn into action, right?
Mm-hmm.
And build consensus and ensure that we are always, and listen, our surveys, like you had said, our surveys provide us with great feedback, and we send them to all members of our community. Our students fill those out, our staff fills them out, and as well as our parents. And this year, I mean, we've had overwhelming response so that we're able to take those pieces over the summer and put them into actionable Board of Education goals with our upcoming retreat.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure you're using AI to
Yes,
get
we
quicker
are.
insight
Yes,
into
we
it.
are. Yes, we are. Thankful for those pieces. Kind of, provides a little bit. The heavy lift is done by AI, which shows intelligence too, right? We spend our time analyzing and executing in that way. To piggyback on something that Ms. White said, and maybe Ms. Peng, I'll start with you. She talked about the idea of respect, which leads to transparency for a Board of Education, right? And how, part of your body is, as elected officials, is the public has trusted you, right? And they have voted you in this capacity of representing, the fifth largest community in the state of New Jersey. What in relationship to transparency? What's the importance of that? How do you demonstrate transparency to the public, other than board meetings twice a month, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it should be far more than more than that, because nobody wants to hear, like for example, placement criteria change the last minute, or you go open a new courses the last minute. So everybody wants to know in advance, right? So it's our responsibility, the board members' responsibility, to basically figure out a way to reach out to the community to tell them what's going on in our schools, what's new, not always bad, good news, maybe sometimes the challenges too, so that they, had a heads up, basically. And other than that, I think also I always personally keep my information publicly available. I have my cell phone number, email address publicly available, so anybody can reach out to me. I think that's part of the being transparent. Transparency basically comes from communication.
Yeah.
If you communicate well, people are going to
and being
think.
available too.
Yeah, being
right?
available,
Yeah.
being accessible. That's and the residents elected us, and we need to be accessible to them, so that when they need something, they would find some board member to reach out,
Yeah.
so they can So that's my view of it.
That's
So
great.
we need to-
That's great. Yeah, yeah.
I think to piggyback on it, right, transparency is the key to on trust, and trust is the key to on relationship from the community. And we are getting better, right? Our latest website is our way of increasing transparency, right? Making the information available to the residents quicker, better, easier, so that they can find it easily. We are streamlining our policies. So I think we are getting better. There's always ways we're gonna improve as we work together, but I think it's important factor, and we are on our way to get better.
Yeah, I agree. Always improving, right? That's the idea of learning, right?
Yeah, there's
It
no
is.
perfection,
Yeah.
right? As long as you are growing and you're moving in the right direction, it's positive.
Yeah, yeah. Ms. White?
Okay, I think, as far as transparency goes, our caucus meetings and our board meetings, when people come and speak to us there at the, or speak to the board, a very wise person told me a long, long time ago that if they take the time to come all the way up here and sit here and then get up and ask a question and want to have an answer, that we should be able to at least deal with that problem, and take care of it then. I like the fact that we do that. We're very good about that. And I think that, I don't think we should shut them down when they talk. If they have their 6 minutes, they have their 6 minutes, and they should be able to vent and voice their opinions. That's just my opinion, and
I
I'm
agree.
not saying I'm right.
No.
But I think it's just, we owe them that. We don't, our positions are volunteered, and what we try and do is just do the very best that we can. But I think they should be able to express themselves for their 6 minutes, and then, if possible, get an answer.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, what you're talking about, too, is really the culture, right? The culture of a Board of Education meeting, a culture of a school. You always get that sense, when you walk into a great school, you can tell the moment that you walk into the front doors,
Yes.
right? You get that sense. It's an interaction with maybe the secretary or a bus driver that's there, or the building principal, or one of your teachers. You always get that sense of, wow, this place has a great culture. And one of the things that we've been harping on here over the last 3 years since I've been here is the idea of culture, and culture always trumping strategy, right?
Yes.
When you have a great culture, great things happen. When you have a toxic culture, it's hard to move things forward. So we really are focusing efforts on building community, establishing that connection, and it's a great partnership with our community and the members of the boards of education. If there was an initiative that you'd like to see grow, like something that we currently are doing right now that you think we could expand upon, what would, and it might be a tough question, there might be multiple ones, but if you could pick one, what do you think you'd like to see grow from a community aspect?
So I think I'll go first, if you don't mind. I think I like to see SAGE's program grow. I mean, it's a first year. It's a huge success. We involve high school students. I like to see the SAGE's program to expand to the middle schools. And I know we spoke
In the works?
about it, right? Because I think our middle schoolers, like the next generation is a lot smarter, right? And they are growing smarter and smarter every year. And they can give some insights that the high schoolers may not give.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that we are not doing right now, and I think we spoke about it, that I like to see is virtual town hall led by every principal, like coffee with principal, right? Where they can engage with the parents and get their feedback and convert that feedback into action, right? I like Edison to be like national model for using AI across the board, including community engagement and feedback loop.
I agree. That's great. Great response. Ms. Peng or Ms. White? Or?
Yeah, I actually, had an idea that hopefully, the other board member won't kill me for it. Because over all these years, I've had many occasions when parents or students came to us, express their concerns or their the issues that they want to stress, and then they don't want to reveal their names or IDs. No matter how hard I try to convince them, this is all going to be confidential, but it's still, difficult for them to do this. So And I used to work in, IT. I carry a pager and all that. And then I thought about this idea box, the old-fashioned idea box, suggestion box that you actually drop a piece of paper into a box, paper box. And I think we could create something similar. We could create an email alias, just one simple email that all 9 board members have access to. And any parents or students, they can send email to us to that email alias, tell us what they think. And we would take turns to evaluate, was it a legit concern? Was it a reasonable suggestions? Then if we think so, then we can forward it to you, administration, to further act on it. I know we are all acting voluntarily and we don't get paid for us. This is a lot of work, but I think in order to really best serve our community, we could actually do this. And this would be a huge, huge help to our community.
All right.
In
All right.
communication.
Little work ahead. Little work ahead. Ms. White?
I think they've hit on just about everything that, as far as improvement, there's always room for improvement, whether it's, academic, whether it's security, there's always room to improve. But I think we're on the right track. I mean, you're wonderful, not for anything, Eddie, but you're a wonderful leader, and you can more or less always point us in the right direction. My concern would be, the only concern I would have is, are we secure enough? Do we need this? Do we need, when you hear other districts, so fortunately Edison's been blessed, knock on wood.
Yep.
It's true.
Yeah.
But you hear it in other districts, and, you try and cut it off at the pass, so to speak. And I think you're pretty much on top of that as much as you could be. Like, you don't have anything else to worry about. But,
yeah, no, I appreciate that, Ms. White, and I think that the conversation today really highlights the values that the board leadership has in relationship to that, the leadership body of the Board of Education, the communications committee, and everything. It's just really powerful stuff. I got 2 more questions, if I can kind of
Sure.
throw them at you, maybe just some food for thought. If you had to summarize your approach or your role as a board member in relationship to community in one word, right? So you only got one word to summarize how you feel about community involvement between, our stakeholders and the Board of Education. What would that word be? What's the first thing that kind of pops in your head?
Listen.
I like it.
For me, it's listen.
I like it. You
Reach
can
out.
steal each other's word. It's not.
Yeah.
That's fine.
to reach out, be open, reach out.
Openness. Okay, I like that. Ms. Peng.
Be accessible.
Accessible. All right. Great. And as we kind of come to a close here, is there maybe one final message that each of you want to communicate to our community members in this platform? Ms. White, is there a phrase or a sentence you'd like to kind of close on?
You don't be fearful of approaching the board. We are here for you. You elected us. We work for you and for your children and for the taxpayers and all, So please, if you have an issue or you have a concern, don't be afraid to bring it forward. We'll be happy to try and work with you or help you or make it go away, so that would be my message, and
Always.
thank you.
That's great. Ms. Peng, any final thoughts?
First, I do want to thank you guys because, I didn't get a chance to say it, but I really wholeheartedly wanted to thank the administration because no matter how many great ideas the committee has, the Board of Ed has, ultimately it's you guys have to do the execution part, right? You guys have to make it true.
Thank you.
So all these achievements, you are the big part of it. And I also want to tell the community, yes, like Ms. White said, reach out. We are here and we wanted to help. I always think the students is our first priority. So anything that's going to help our students, we want you to help. We are here. So reach out, please.
Awesome.
Yep, I think, and I'll just add, reach out and give us ideas, right? We cannot think of everything that's possible. You all are smart, give us ideas. And we will do mistakes, but we'll be the first one to admit it as well. Reach out, give us ideas, we'll try to implement it, and if we do mistake, we'll correct it.
That's great. Well, listen, as we come to the end of our time, I want to thank all of you. I mean, I know you volunteer a lot of hours in committees and at board meetings and dealing with constituents, and I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to engage in this process. I think it's a worthwhile process as far as getting our message out, getting behind the scenes in relationship to the work that you do and how we serve the community. So as we come to a close, again, I am Edward Aldarelli, proud superintendent of the Edison Township Public Schools, as we conclude our connections with our community, building relationships that matter on our Leading the Way podcast. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you again for listening to Leading the Way. We hope today's episode offered a meaningful look at the people and the passion and the driving force behind Edison Township Public Schools. We'll be back soon with more voices and stories that reflect the heart of our district. But until then, thank you for being a part of this journey.